everyone, and welcome to today's DIP Hangout on beliefs, and specifically on transcending beliefs, wherein we will be having a look at specifically how it is that belief systems in the mind can interfere and sabotage your process of self-change and self-development. So we're going to be having a look at um, introducing the concept of beliefs and opening it up so that we can understand how it works, how it exists, and ultimately how we can work with it and direct it inside of ourselves. So is there, with me, is Tormod.
Hello.
Hello. We have Leon from Texas and June as well from Texas. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So is there anyone who would like to start with just sharing your experience of the role that beliefs have played in your process of self-change thus far?
I would like to say that belief is a very interesting word in investigating self and within living life, and realizing that we have this word called beliefs, which is built up with be, lie, v. It is to be a lie, and it's like, how can we not see that when we go to church or we go do something and we think about short judgments, or we make some assessment, or we make some beliefs within ourselves about right or wrong or whatever we make a belief about? We are living a lie, and it's so obvious. And it's like, I have been living in a specific belief system within myself, going back to as like a branch out of a very early shame character that I developed from my early childhood, a character of shame, and from that I grew a huge fear of making mistakes in school. And I would go to school and I would learn math and English and Norwegian and nature science and so on and so forth. And whenever I would do a mistake or be corrected by the teacher, like the teacher would say, note here that this is wrong or something with a red marker typically. That seeing of that in my book, or that teacher yelling at me in front of the class, or whatever damage I was done to, made me fear so bad to do mistakes. And when I have that tremendous fear of making mistakes in my life, I fail to see that, well, mistakes is sort of how you get there in the overall picture. I mean, if you make a mistake, you sort of step into the salad, or what you call it, and you do a mistake. You screw up sometimes. That's how you learn. We all do mistakes. That's how we learn. Now, for my 9 or 10 or 12 years of schooling, I was living in dread fear, at least from my earliest days, with doing mistakes. And from there on, I would sort of grow into this sabotaging character, doing drinking and drugging and sabotaging society, because I would grow into this belief that I would judge others as I was judged upon from teachers. I would judge others and grow into this judgment archetype of myself. Out of fear of doing mistakes, I would judge myself, think that I'm such a whatever idiot because I do mistakes. And yeah, so beliefs is a very essential part of how we live our lives in this world to this very day. And it's a really interesting phenomenon to investigate with self, to see patterns and developments and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually a very cool example of a belief system, because I think that a lot of people deal with that belief of like making mistakes is something bad, which is a belief. You know, it's wrong to make mistakes. That's like a point of morality that you have in your mind, where as long as you believe that making mistakes is bad, you will try to, you know, at any effort avoid making any sort of mistakes. You will also, for instance, feel nervous or anxious when you have to perform because you fear making mistakes so badly. I mean, I know that I've dealt with that fear, with that belief of making mistakes is a bad thing. And I think that most of us are also like conditioned to believe that because of how the schooling system exists, where you're just trained to try to avoid making mistakes, and where you're kind of sometimes even traumatized when you do make mistakes because of how the teacher might respond to it. How about you guys, Leon or June? Can you guys relate to what Tormod shared?
Yes, because, like you say, in relation to school, I was taught indirectly that, you know, well, I ingrained in my mind that you have to make good grades. Or in other words, you have to pass in order to make it to the next grade. And so I indirectly, tacitly taught myself, okay, I have to be perfect, basically, or near perfect in relation to my academic performance. And that is something that there was a person in elementary school when I was in grade school. I envied this individual because they made straight A's basically. But I found within that a source of motivation. So it's not only something that within myself created a point of competition, but I used that competition through motivation, and I motivated myself to acquire good grades. And in the third grade in elementary school, I made straight A's. So I used that sense of competition within myself as a point of motivating myself that, hey, you know, I can do better than this. I don't have to be in this same stage or mode of learning. I can expand my awareness within what I'm learning. I can expand myself on many different levels. So that is what I essentially told myself, not specifically, but essentially. And so, you know, I use that to motivate myself to make good grades. But really, the fundamental platform of school and schooling, I mean, it's something that doesn't work for everyone in relation to seeing that competition and turning it into a point of motivation. You know,
Yeah.
it has to be something that works for every individual. So, you know, really within schooling, I think the fundamentals of it has to align to something that can benefit children more within an area of helping them realize their own motivation.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that your story also actually shows a very interesting dimension of beliefs that's very interesting to have a look at. For instance, with the schooling, as you mentioned, you know, that point of competition, which is actually based on belief systems of, for instance, making mistakes or failure is bad, and excelling, exceeding, beating others is good. That doesn't work for everyone. And in fact, many different people, many different children have different responses to that same premise, to that same construct of that belief. For instance, with me, I went into kind of a suppression mode where, because of my fear of failing, because I believed that, you know, making mistakes is so bad, I felt extremely nervous every time I had to perform for a test or any kind of book report. So because of that nervousness, I went into a complete lockdown of myself where I didn't allow myself to express or enjoy myself in any way. So that meant that I wouldn't exceed or excel, but I also wouldn't fail. I would just stay on that level that I was on because I felt safe, because I felt like I'm safe where I am, because if I just keep myself here, if I don't allow myself to express myself, then that also means I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to make any mistakes. And then you have other children who would just, you know, because of the pressure of making mistakes, a fear of making mistakes, they would just give up completely. And then you have those other kids like you, Leon, who will actually use the fear of making mistakes or the belief that making mistakes is bad as a motivation point to become better. So, you know, I find that when you're dealing with belief systems, you have those different levels of responses in people, where some people use the belief to motivate them to be good, be better. Other people will rebel against the belief or will just give up, and other people will just kind of keep their head down, don't express themselves, and just stay stagnant. So I thought that was a very interesting point that came out of your story.
I would like to say that I realize here, sitting talking to you guys, that it's like a double wrong. It's like double foul, or what should I say? Because first you're in this belief or this lie. You're in this lie, and from that point you end up going into judgment or fear or anxiety because you're living in a belief. And this is like a double minus. It's like a double error, and it's really really not cool thing to witness. And I feel that I have a point in my body, on my back, that hurts really bad because I have this manifested over years and years of emotional damage and schooling, life, programming, etc. And from that, I have this pain from emotional burden, a knot of energies that is like pain within my body that I feel and that I have to consider. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's also something that beliefs can do, you know, because it forms that pressure point not only in your mind but also on a physical level. Like sometimes you have like pain in your muscles here in your back, which is really almost like you're carrying this burden the whole time, like you're stressed the whole time. Or people with hunched backs, it's really as though you are in fact carrying this heavy burden on your back, which is what a belief can do, you know, when you're constantly living in a way where you're just trying to avoid something that's apparently bad, and you're trying to just be good the whole time because of these belief systems of what's bad and good. I mean, it can form that kind of pressure, this heavy burden that you live with, which can manifest on that kind of physical level. So June, do you have any experience that you would like to share in relation to how you've lived beliefs, or how, you know, beliefs have interfered with your process?
One thing that I can remember is my dad telling me stories about heaven and the angels, and for me that is something that I thought was real, and so that the lie is there, that I believed that lie for so long until I questioned, why is it that heaven should be somewhere out there rather than not here on earth? And so what I found out is, just because of that one belief, I felt inferior already and diminished myself by saying, well, if it's not here, then life will be here to just prepare me for that place after death, where I did not realize that within that belief I'm already in diminishing myself, rather than saying, hey, you know what, we can actually create a potential of heaven on earth. So now I came up with a project called Heaven on Earth, Bridging Heaven on Earth. So for me, that is my correction for that belief.
Cool.
That,
So,
yeah,
yes.
that we should not just believe for the sake of believing because everyone believes like that, but rather question it and then correct it in a way where the lie becomes real and you are creating a potential for all to expand themselves in this on this earth. And that, to me, just even saying something about that for me is a correction. That is how I'd look at it. What do you say to that, Kim?
Well, to me that sounds like, it's the practical approach to beliefs, because it's to make them physical. It's to basically just kind of ask yourself, how can I take this belief, which is actually something that kind of just exists in your mind. It's like this thing that you have in your mind through which you see reality, which is actually often just more creating emotional turmoil. How can I take that and make it actually real? Like, for instance, if you believe in angels or if you believe in heaven, that would be kind of this thing that exists in your mind. It's not here. It's like the angels you believe in aren't actually helping you in your day-to-day living. Or this heaven that you believe in, it's only something that's going to be there supposedly after you die. So how can you take that concept of heaven or angels and make it practical? Like, it doesn't mean you have to give up on it. You don't have to give up on heaven or on angels. It's just a matter of, looking at it and going, okay, so if I take the concept of angels, which is a being who is pure, who is unconditionally giving and caring, who is basically the complete epitome of all that is perfect and good and wonderful, how do I take that and actually make it real for myself? Which might mean that you investigate how you can embody those characteristics and qualities that you see in that image of the angel in your mind, how you can actually live that and embody that in your own life. That is how you can make the angel real from being a belief system. The same with heaven on earth.
Bridging it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's a very awesome approach to belief systems, just making them practical. Because, I think that, in this world you have many people who believe in things like God or, angels and heaven, and then you have a lot of other people who stand against that and who go, well, no, it's all rubbish, and God is not real, heaven's not real, angels are not real, these people are stupid for believing in all those things, you should just... And basically these people who are against religion, for instance, are essentially expecting people who are religious to just drop their beliefs. Like, they should just stop believing in those things because it's not real and it's silly. But also in that stance of being against beliefs and being against religion, you're also not actually seeing the benefit, or you're not seeing the potential that actually exists in beliefs, which is that all the things that people believe in aren't necessarily just not real. They hold a certain potential. Like, if a person believes in angels, then that person doesn't necessarily need to give up on the belief, but they can just look at how they can make the belief more practical, and then it becomes real. That's my take on that. Is there anyone who would like to share their perspective on what June shared?
I have a perspective regarding beliefs as something that supported me within my life, because for me, I am the type of person that I went through several different types of belief structures, and those belief structures led me to where I am now, you know. And even in this moment now, I am still expanding in many different ways. So belief structures help me get on the platform where I am able to learn, to grow, to really expand my awareness in relation to myself, my internal reality, and also my external reality, which mirrors my internal reality. The only, I guess you could say, fallback or problem is that if I cage myself in that belief, if I stop right there at a particular belief structure, then I lose that opportunity to really expand my awareness, to grow and learn, to broaden my perspective, if you will, of all the many different areas and perspectives in relation to different fields of you know, religious spiritualities and stuff, using that to help me grow as a person. So yeah, that's basically the potential that I saw in beliefs, that they were a part of me and that they supported me in being able to expand my awareness.
And I would like to say something regarding consequence, because if I keep this belief of heaven somewhere out there, what happens is I keep my mind focused on that, and whenever I'm doing something here, I'm not actually here. I'm over there somewhere in my mind. So that's a big, huge consequence outflow, you know, that hoping becomes hopelessness. So yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, that's a very cool dimension of beliefs to look at as well. How believing in something can also create that experience inside of yourself of hope as well as despair, as like the opposite of hope, and helplessness and things like that, because you're holding on to something in your mind that you can't necessarily grasp entirely, such as the concept of heaven, where you're not actually, working with the actual physical reality that's here. So that, again, emphasizes the importance of making beliefs.
And also came powerlessness.
Yeah. Can you give an example maybe of how beliefs can create powerlessness?
Because I'm waiting and I'm hoping that someone out there will give it to me. Just as when I was diagnosed with 4th stage cancer, 2008, I was face to face with this, really. And I'm saying, if that someone I trust will not be there, I'm in big trouble, you see. So from then on, I told myself, you've got to face death head on. And whenever you face death, be sure you can save yourself. Meaning that I have all the power in me. Why deny myself that potential to develop myself to my utmost potential? And I have the power to create whatever I envision that will be best for all here in this life.
Mm. So you mean if you believe in something, then you will, in a way, live your life in hope that what you believe in will ultimately become reality. And because you place yourself in that position of hope, you don't actually fulfill your own potential, and you don't actually take your life in your own hands and create what it is that you are actually trying to have or are
Yes.
searching for.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, that's a cool perspective. Definitely. I mean, I think that the most extreme example of that would be like suicide bombers, like people who act out those, who go and blow themselves up basically in the name of their religion, in the name of that hope that once they die, everything will somehow be better and they will get maybe a second chance at a better life or a heaven of many pleasures or whatever it is. They end up completely compromising themselves, their potential that they might have had in this lifetime just because of that belief. So it's like once they get on the other side, if there is an other side at all, and there's nothing there waiting for them, then they will be in that position of powerlessness and hopelessness and despair because because they allowed themselves to follow a belief instead of living in a practical, realistic way.
That is something that I also see with myself, that is point of responsibility for myself and for everybody else, really, as myself, is that as long as I know letters and words, and I can see that it says be, lie, these. I'm not going to blindfold myself that I can't see the believe, lie, it's a lie. I'm not going to ignore it and say I can't see it. Like a minister or a religious person or anybody who's doing consumer shopping or thinking that I can't see that thing happening and just ignoring it and ignoring that wording of that word that it says lie. And on my dying day, I don't want to stand there and say that, well, I just thought it said something else, when I know, like everybody who has investigated words know that it says lie. It says lie. Ring, 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 ding, ding, ding. Wake up. That's lie. Plain simple. No more bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, once you start to understand how constructs in your mind, such as beliefs, exist, and once you start kind of gaining more of a deeper insight into your mind, then you start seeing that things like that are obvious, and it's like in your face, like. But the word lie is in the word belief, which you can only actually see and realize because you have already gone through a process of introspection where you've already actually seen that, okay, when I'm in a belief, I'm actually lying to myself. But I think that in order to, for people to really see the lie in belief, they would already have to make that decision to introspect into themselves.
And it's so convenient to just like point at everybody else, like he's doing it, she's doing it, they have the beliefs, they're doing the same. Just it's so convenient with the mass programming that we're under to just like point at others and say that they're still in it, so can I be, and just be irresponsible when you know it.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean that it's like how we see that how this world is run with different countries, and it's like separation all over. It's like all the countries in the world is separated into little units,
Oh, yeah.
with little presidents, little kings, and little princesses, whatever, and all this insanity and cruelty and abuse, and a lot of it comes down to this word and similar words and phenomena just like this, because this lies deep within us, within our very metaphysics, within the very compressed programming of us as beings living on this earth, living lies.
Yeah, so it's basically just a matter of what you choose to, or what lie that you choose to tell yourself that will decide how you separate yourself from everyone else.
Yeah, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, um, I would suggest that for the next point to look at,
Yeah.
we maybe can have a look at how we assisted and supported ourselves to um, change beliefs, or to change ourselves in relation to beliefs, and or how we manage to step out of beliefs and maybe expand our own awareness of our reality and ourselves a bit more, which we've already touched upon a bit. But is there anyone who would like to share about that specific process that you walk of realizing the lie in beliefs, basically?
I think for me, a big part of my beliefs, um, if I was to choose a word, the word would be absolute. ABSOU. I'm sorry, ABSOLUTE, absolute. Um, because in order to lock myself in a belief, for me, there has to be some level of where I made that particular belief and absolute within my mind. So for me, my process, my journey of expanding myself was, um, I guess you can say, breaking down that absoluteness and seeing beyond that veil of absoluteness, realizing that for me, there is a gray area uh, between one end of the pole and another end of the pole. There's a gray area where I am able to look at one point and see many different perspectives of that point. See all of the practical applications that I am able to live within my life regarding a particular perspective of a particular point within a gray area between two opposite poles that creates a belief structure. And for me, breaking down that absoluteness within my mind helped me to begin to critically think, be aware of that there is an opposite end to this particular belief. There is an opposite polarity, that is holding this belief together. So, it really helped me to use my own mind to really assess different perspectives in relation to a particular belief structure.
Would you be able to maybe give a practical example of that, just as a point that people can maybe relate to, but better?
Well, for me, I guess one practical perspective. I was at one point a Christian. I aligned to that belief structure. But then one day, I started breaking down that absoluteness, that those fundamental beliefs and acceptances within my mind through questioning. You know, is there more to life than this, basically? In the moment that I questioned, the more I was able to assess my position in relation to Christianity, and expand myself in other avenues within my life. So I guess the practical application here would be just really assessing the nature of things.
Yeah, so essentially it's a process of looking at
Yes.
maybe how practical your belief is. Like, is this really assisting me where I'm at in my life right now? Is, you know, how is this actually really supportive of who I am as a being?
Yes.
Like looking at things from a practical perspective rather than just a belief of, you know, this is how it should be.
Yes.
Cool.
I would like to say that within my process, in my standing as of today, I am having issues about making decisions, about where to live, about moving, and it's really a dreadful thing for me to focus on because I judge myself. I go into this belief that I have to judge myself as a lousy decision maker because I can't make up my mind, and so it becomes like an evil spin. Like I think that I can't make up my mind, so I'm a bad decision maker, so I can't make up my mind. So that I'm having a hard time making a decision, and what, what I hope to manage is to transcend this big bad belief thing into a good decision maker. That would be what I would hope to transcend. Get out there and make cool decisions based on common sense that I know that I am capable of, that I have within me as of physical, as of quality and oneness, that I can be if I just trust myself enough and have confidence. I think there's a lot of a clear clue about my old fear of making mistakes and self-trust, self-confidence. I think it's sort of layered there. Yeah.
And normally what I do is look at the benefits of, for example, moving there in that one place or moving in the second place. Look at the benefits and the cost-benefit analysis or something like that.
Okay.
The pluses and the minuses, and if there are more pluses, I go for that, and then I test it out. Then if that, I wouldn't judge myself as having that bad judgment, but rather to be able to assess again and again whenever I need to, you see. I can also relate to the education system having this, having impulsed me in this, where they evaluate what is right and what is wrong. And so within this evaluation, my value goes up and down. Whenever I have mistakes, it goes down. Whenever it goes, I have more check marks, it goes up. So that then my value as a human is not stable. It goes up and down depending on what I have, how much money I have, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the value that really is stable is I am a part of that life. And whatever I can contribute to make that the life that is best for me and best for everyone is my real value. That to me is so stable. I can, I can live with that. So yeah.
Yeah, so that I would say that value is something that you decided for yourself. Like,
Yes.
first you looked at what is the value that this belief is giving me, where it's constantly going up and down, and then you went, okay, now what is my real value? What do I say my value really is? Which would be your point of stability that you keep going back to because it's a constant thing.
Mm. Right.
And I think that Tormod, for your issue, I think that would, just like June said, it's a matter of like bringing yourself out of that reality in the mind where things constantly go up and down, where, it's constantly like hope and despair and feeling good, feeling bad type of thing, which is what beliefs can create. And to just kind of bring yourself down to a practical level where you can, for example, as June said, take a piece of paper, just write down the pros and the cons of moving to a certain place, and then you can, for yourself, without your mind interfering, just look at it, just to kind of look at the facts, and then make a decision, because this one is simply better than that one, because that's what the facts are telling you. And it's like, if you approach your reality in that practical way, then it's like you're not giving your mind a chance to step in and come up with judgments or fears or anything like that. So maybe that can be something that you can try and see if and how it works.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. So I see that we are pretty much at the end of the Hangout, time-wise. So is there anything that anyone would like to share at this point?
I would like to say that from what I've learned about the recipe of this is to focus that there is no genuinely right or wrong in this world. There is no good or evil. It's all like, I mean, there are things that are good for all. There are solutions, but there is no like the American presidents or Republicans, Democrats, red versus blue, boy versus girl. There is no such thing. It's all a lie. It's not a belief. So, yeah. But I have to focus on the practical terms now. So, thanks, guys. Yeah.
I would like to say something about belief, which I embraced before because I did not know what heaven was. Because I did not know what heaven was, I relied on information passed on to me by everyone rather than just looking at what is here, what are the problems that we can see here, what are the solutions. To me, walking that and really being a part of that is, to me, is where the correction lies for me. So yeah, that would be my...
Cool.
Yeah.
And I think part of, for me, what magnetized me to beliefs was that unknown, and being able to endlessly, limitlessly unpeel that unknown point within beliefs forever. Because every time that I peel, I receive pleasure from that. So it's like an endless cycle of pleasure. Oh, I learned something new in relation to this particular belief. Now, I feel good.
Yeah, that's good.
Lasts for a little bit of time, and then I find, another piece of information about this belief structure, and now I feel good. Now I know it's authentic, and days pass, weeks pass. Oh, I need some more hope. Basically, so it's like an endless cycle, like riding a bicycle, an exercise bicycle, but not going really anywhere. So it looks good compared to what we see within this world, because everything within this world, it looks to be limited as far as, I know how everything is going. I know that this world is going down, and I don't like it. But I learned that the external world really mirrors my internal reality. So really, it's a point of taking a look at my internal reality and seeing how I limited my scope, I limited my perspective and awareness in relation to the external world. And within that, I have the opportunity to really build and expand myself in relation to my external reality by looking within and seeing where and how I limited myself in my internal reality. And then it doesn't become a belief; it becomes a knowing. Like, okay, I know this point about myself, and so how can I expand myself in relation to that? So, yeah.
Cool, Leon.
Yeah. Cool. So we are basically at the end of this hangout now. Thank you very much, guys, and girl, for joining me today. I thought it was a very introspective hangout, and a lot of cool points opened up. So, I mean, maybe in the future we can continue this discussion. So we'll have to see about that. So have a good evening, and I'll see you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.